for our merchants and a lot of the clients we work with, retention is what keeps their business going. Acquisition can pretty much be looked at, water being poured into a leaking bucket. You're always going to have to fill those customers and fill the quantities, but retention is where you really get the best type of customers that you need. Some of the additional quotes and stats below here, you'll see 7 times more expensive to acquire new customers than to keep the current ones. And your loyal customers are worth more than 10 times as much as their first purchase. So customer retention is a very important item that we want merchants and clients to really focus on. So what makes customer retention different than acquisition? We really want to get some insights from Sue at Honest Company because like acquisition, retention rarely just happens, and it really requires a lot of planning and strategy. So to kick off, Sue, can you tell us a little more about how Honest treats acquisition and retention differently today?
Sure. Acquisition, we look at it as a completely different engine from retention. We're actually 2 separate teams under the same marketing team umbrella. So we have our acquisition team with the director and the manager, and we have the retention and engagement team, which I'm a part of. The way I like to look at it is that the acquisition team is the team that kind of flags the people down on the street and tells them to come in for the best deal, for the best meal, whatever we're selling. In this case, we're selling family products. So they're the ones saying, come in, come in, come in, and bringing them to the door. And the retention and engagement team, we're the ones that make them feel welcome, make the place feel cozy and homey. And the way we do that is through personalization. Let them know that we know who they are, what they're looking for, and we have everything that they're looking for. And we do that by personalizing their emails, showing them what they're already looking for, and giving them offers to get them to stay and want to stay forever.
Great. And what are some of the different channels that you guys use to target, acquisitions versus retention?
So the acquisition team markets on several different platforms and channels, such as display ads on the internet, and they work with different blog partners, whereas in the retention and engagement team, we mostly focus our efforts on email.
Okay. And, I know Honest Company has a really elaborate customer service team. How does your customer service team feed into your retention strategy?
Our customer service team is amazing. They're super well trained and knowledgeable about all of our products. So whenever a customer calls in questioning the product or how to use a certain product that they just got, they have the ins and out knowledge of what it's made of, how it's used, why it's safe, and how to avoid certain reactions that you want to avoid. They're also great at saving sales. Their save sale rate is amazing. And they do that by being personable. It's not like talking to a robot at the other end. They want to talk to you about your issues. They want to talk to you about why you're possibly trying to cancel. And they do it with discounts, upsells, and cross-sells. They're definitely a crucial component to our retention team.
Great. So, talking about retention and these strategies, a lot of the questions are, how do we measure retention? What are the KPIs that we use? Looking at different campaigns, we can really measure retention off of these campaigns based off of, do we increase engagement? Did we get these clients to come back because they haven't opened or clicked an email over the past, 3 months? We can also look at it from purchase behavior. When's the last time one of our customers have made that purchase, and how do we get them back? So when you're looking at campaigns, really defining what those KPIs are will help you measure what retention is for you. So, looking at the slide here, we mentioned that KPIs can be repeat purchase rate and so forth. These are some of the items that Honest Company can talk a little more about. Sue, if you can elaborate how these three KPIs are currently tracked and used for measuring retention at Honest Company?
Sure. Well, one of the channels that, or one of the main channels that we measure retention is on emails. So emails is very trackable. So we look at open rates, click-through rates, conversion rates. But going beyond that, we look at repeat purchase rate. How many times does a customer purchase, or if they're a subscription customer, how many subscriptions do they stay on with us? And from our analyses, we know that once a customer makes that first purchase, we can almost guarantee that they'll be back to make another purchase. We also look at cancellation rate for subscribers. What's the big drop-off point? Where do we see churn at the highest? And we also look at LTV, the lifetime value of a customer. When they do make that repeat purchase, what's the value of that purchase, and how do we get that value to be increased?
Great. And to dive a little deeper, as far as cancellation rate, I know you have multiple products as well with your different bundles and different subscriptions. Do you guys track those very specific to what products, what bundles that you guys have for your customers?
Definitely. So we look at the bundle type that was canceled if they were a subscriber. So we have 3 different bundle types. We have our diapers and wipes bundle, we have our essentials bundle, and we also have our health and wellness or vitamin bundle. So we have that. We also have the date of cancellation, so we can create automated marketing campaigns based on cancellation date for whatever makes sense for that bundle type.
Great. And then as far as these 3 KPIs that we have listed out, how can you utilize the performance metrics from this? If you see that repeat purchase rate is increasing by 2x, or cancellation rate has dropped over 3%. What type of campaigns can you do moving forward using these type of performance measurements?
For these types of KPIs, the best type of email marketing to do is automated campaigns. So for repeat purchase rate, if someone hasn't shopped with us in over, I'm not going to say how long, but we have a campaign that kicks off. It's called a lapse campaign. So if you haven't been shopping with us, then we know that. We know that your last shop date was X. So we have an automation that says, hey, if that person has reached this threshold, go ahead and shoot over this campaign with this discount and this promo code. And that's actually one of our most successful campaigns, and it's automated. You just set it and forget it. For cancellation rate, like I said, we track cancellation date. So our subscriptions are normally a 30-day supply. So we know when you cancel your subscription, you still have a 30-day supply with you. So 30 days after, we kick off another automated campaign saying, hey, we know you canceled with us, but how about this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great. So moving into what is customer lifetime value, CLV, and how do you measure it? To give a little background, CLV has become, it can be simple, but it can be very complex when we're looking at all the different types of businesses and industries that we have out there. Just to set a simple formula, we could really look at CLV based off of average order value times the number of orders, and over a lifetime of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. That is a very basic, simple way of identifying CLV. So what we do at Retention Science and how we work with Honest is really looking at not just the current aggregate CLV of what these customers have done, but additionally the predicted lifetime value. Finding that predicted lifetime value is very important because you can help forecast, find out which marketing channels or acquisition sources are high value, and that really makes a big difference towards the marketing messages and the content that you provide for your customer base. So going back to our retention and general, what we're looking at for CLV, I mean, it takes a lot of planning, takes a lot of strategy to do a well-put retention campaign. Want to get some more insights from Honest Company, who currently sets your overall strategy and plans for retention? Who do you work with there? And how does that get planned out? Is it a month in advance, 3 months, or do you guys do yearly planning for just the retention space?
So under the marketing team, we're split up into 3 different categories. We have the retention and engagement, which I fall under. We have our acquisition team, and we have our PR communications team, which involves social, PR, special events. So our team, the retention and engagement team, is in charge of retention. But the VP of marketing is heavily involved with the planning, and also our president, Sean Kane, he's heavily involved and very interested in retention and engagement because he understands the importance of it. So in terms of planning, we have an annual plan of what we want to do and the big promotions that we want to kick off. But as a growing company, as a fast-paced company, things are always changing and things are always being added. Just recently, we came up with the promotion 3 days before it kicked off. So, that involves creative team, our tech engineering team, our operations team, and obviously our marketing team. So a lot of teams are involved in executing these plans. But some of the more heavily involved ones that include site-wide changes, that can take months of planning. For example, our Black Friday promotion that's coming up, we planned for that at the beginning of the year, and it took months of prep, especially for our engineering team and our QA team, to make sure everything is flawless. And we're still working on it.
Great. Yeah, and that definitely speaks, whether you're a small, medium, large enterprise company, there's a lot of different departments involved, a lot of different individuals of, various positions, whether it's the tech, the marketing, the graphic design, content, or even your executive level. It really takes quite some time to plan for customer retention. But like you mentioned, you can also do retention campaigns and turn those around within 1 or 2 days. So you're really looking at different types of high-level and quick one-off campaigns that really all target retention at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
Great. Here we'll pause 30 seconds for questions. So feel free to enter in your questions in chat, and then we'll answer them quickly. A couple questions that already came up. We will be sending the recording out and slides after the webinar. So in case you missed anything, you will definitely get it. All right, so first question from Lauren Miller. What campaigns have you tested that don't include a discount?
Let's see. That's a tough one because we're so promotion heavy right now. But we did test our social campaign. We had a static social campaign that just pushed people to like our Facebook page, follow us on Pinterest. And we tried out this new platform where we tested out a live feed from those social channels. So we tested that campaign, and surprisingly enough, and we're going to optimize this, the live feed did not win over the static campaign. That was a bummer for me because I thought the live feed was so cool. So I'm not giving up on it, and we will test it again.
That's very interesting. Yeah, and from our side, working with clients in the past and today, some of the win-back campaigns that we've run was based off of cancellation reasons. So for, really retaining past customers and bringing them in, we've been able to run campaigns that really said, hey, we've missed you, or, check out these new products that we've added since you've left. And really create that re-engagement without actually giving discounts in the win-back campaign.
Oh, I just thought of a good one. I was going to talk about this later, but I can talk about it now. One of the coolest and most successful A/B tests that I've run at The Honest Company has been a campaign called Shop to Sub. So that campaign focuses on shop or a la carte customers only, pushing them to a subscription. Obviously, we want everyone to be a subscriber because we're guaranteed a shipment almost every month, and we know that they're a little bit more loyal than our a la carte purchasers. So this campaign didn't involve a promotion for a subscription. We personalized the email. So let's see, version A was just a static email talking about why you should be a bundle subscriber, what the benefits are. That was version A, that was our control. Our version B was personalized based on that person's last shop purchase category. So if you shopped in the diaper category, then we sold you a diapers bundle saying, hey, you can save up to 30% just by bundling. Again, no discount was offered. If you shop from our vitamin category, then we pushed you to a health and wellness bundle. If you shopped in our personal care category, then we pushed you to our essentials bundle. Each bundle just talked about the benefits of the bundle and the discount that you would get just by subscribing. With the V version, we saw a 63% lift in clicks. We saw a 22% lift in conversions. Again, no promotion, no discount. We just personalized it, and it was very, very successful.
Great. To keep on track, we're going to move on to our second section. What data do you need to track for successful retention marketing? And also, we will have a question session at the end. So if you have any questions right now, feel free to just put them in, and we will go over every single question at the end. So thanks, guys.
Moving on to what data do you need to track? From a technical perspective, marketing's perspective, having organized data is very important, being able to pull in the right sources. So when you're really thinking about your post-holiday campaigns, it requires planning, of the actual holiday campaigns. When you're sending out your messages, what are those customer data points that you really need to have so that following the holidays you can effectively target these users. So really looking at general e-commerce customer data, whether it's their name, their geographic location, zip code, their demographics with household, income, number of kids, or any other data that you can grab from them during the holidays with sign-up forms, pop-ups, or even feedback forms that you can send to them after they've made a purchase. Another couple items that I thought was very important is looking at the dates of their last purchase, when they subscribed, if you're giving out subscription products, or even when they canceled. These fields and data points can be very important for after the holiday season, because you can look at targeting them with campaigns for replenishment, or just making sure that they're going through a good customer life cycle. Your customer service team has good marketing messages out to those customers that recently purchased. Additionally, we can look at how many people are buying gifts, whether those purchases are including gift receipt options. If your website or your online store is giving gift card purchases digitally or physically, it would be great to track that as well. If the standard 80% of customers redeem, you still have a group of users that have not. So being able to target those users is very important, as they could be new customers and really increase that overall CLV. Other things to look at are your current customers and their wish list, what type of items may have been left inside of their wish list, or even their abandoned cart. That's very interesting for retargeting users as well in post-holiday. You can look at whether they've made the full purchases, and really just hit them with campaigns to see if you can bring them back in. And then finally, another item to really focus on during the holidays is your returned items. For customer service and for your marketing message, being able to see what items were returned and being proactive, sending messages to your customers for those specific items can really help you create better retention strategies there. Then we're going to move on to Honest and what type of customers does Honest currently segment. Sue, can you tell us a little more about that?
Sure. Who are Honest customers? We consider everyone our customers. People look at Honest and think we're a family brand, so we're just for mothers, but actually we're for everybody. And it's not just for people who are eco-conscious. We believe that everybody should be eco-conscious because we all live in this world. So our job is also to educate, not just to target those people who are interested in us, but it's also to educate those people who aren't aware of the toxic chemicals that are used in everyday products, and to teach them what to look for in the list of ingredients of their products, and teach them what's safe and what's not safe for you and the environment. How do we segment them? We're trying to segment them by parents, non-parents, because that's kind of an important differentiator for us. Either you're interested in our diapers and wipes bundle, or you'd be interested in our essentials bundle. So we're trying to segment them that way. We're still working on that very heavily with retention science. We also segment them by likeliness to purchase, and retention science is heavily invested in that. We use another third-party source that kind of gives us more data on our brand new customers, where we rank them. I won't go into too much detail, but we also segment them that way. We also segment them by shop-only customers, people who aren't our subscribers, and also our subscribers, and lapsed customers who haven't shopped with us in 2 to 3 months. We also have an inactive segment where we say, you know, you haven't opened an email from us in about 6 months, and you haven't engaged with us on our site for 6 months. So we bucket them into the inactive category, and then we have automated campaigns that go out to them specifically. We also have a non-buyer segment, which means you've signed up for our website, but you've never made that first purchase. And we have specific campaigns that go out to that group as well.
Great. And earlier you mentioned, segmenting expecting mothers versus, parents with kids of, 3 to 6 months. What type of data sources are you looking at to figure those segments out?
So as a new company, we make it really easy for you to sign up for our emails. All we ask for is an email address and a password. So that makes segmentation very difficult for us because we have no data on you. As Ryan was explaining before, it's good to geo-target and maybe target by age and by gender. That would be awesome for us, but we just don't have that data. But we have to look at, well, what data do we have? We have purchase behavior, but if you haven't made a purchase, what do we look at? We then have browse behavior. So again, we're working with retention science. They have tracking pixels on all of our website, all of our pages on our website, and we can track everything. We can see where you came from, where you're going, where you're clicking on, how much time are you spending per page. So to differentiate between mothers and expecting mothers, well, mothers are obviously going to be looking at diapers and baby products. Expecting mothers will be looking at diapers, but newborn size diapers, and also prenatal vitamins. That's a big one for us. That's like a big indicator. So, I mean, as a new customer, you're going to be looking around everywhere. So we need to be paying attention to what page are you spending the most time in, and which page are you clicking the most around in. Those are all indicators. So because our information that we ask for is so limited, we have to look at what we have and utilize it to the best way as possible.
Great. And then as far as your, retail shoppers versus your subscription customers, what have you seen be the big difference between those two types of groups?
Our subscribers versus our shop customers. So one important lesson that I needed to learn when I started at The Honest Company, which was surprising but logical if you think about it, is that our communication with our subscribers has to be limited as much as possible. And we've tested this, and what we saw that the more we email our subscribers, the higher our cancellation rate is. So it makes sense because when you email the subscriber, you're giving them a reminder like, hey, you have something you need to cancel. So here's your reminder. We see call volume spike. We see cancellation rate spike, and it's just not a good thing. So when we need to communicate with our subscribers, we try to utilize our existing emails to them, such as our 4-day reminder email that goes out 4 days before their subscription is about to ship out. So we actually have a marketing section within that email that tells them about all the new products that have launched instead of sending out a brand new email to them. Whereas our shop only or a la carte purchasers, we talk to them constantly. We need to remind them to purchase. We need to give them a reason to purchase. We need to fill their inbox, basically. We need to engage them and retain them as much as possible. So the level of communication between the two groups is very, very different.
Great. And then we wanted to also talk more about how the Honest Company utilizes CLV and LTV today. Just some general examples of some campaigns that you really use these values for increasing retention and whatnot. Can you tell me a little more about the campaigns that you're currently running and which one uses LTP at what point versus the CLVs?
So both of those usually fall under our welcome and activation campaign, which we work with on with retention science. And likelihood to purchase, we use that to determine what type of offer you're going to see in our welcome activation series. Depending on which category you fall in, you may get a 30% off offer versus a $10 off your first purchase offer.
And how has the customer data changed over time? Because we've run a lot of tests with you in these welcome activation campaigns, whether they were a high probability of purchase versus a low probability of purchase. What are some of those differences over time that you've seen? Has free trial been more effective for a certain group versus giving just a fixed dollar discount off?
So I couldn't say generally on which offer works better, but it's all dependent on who we're talking to. It's all about personalization. So we've tested different sequences. We've tested giving a really high offer to a low probability group and vice versa. And it just all depends. And that's what retention science helps us with.
Absolutely. And just like you mentioned, there's so many dimensions to a user. Looking at their customer attributes, their browsing behavior, their past history purchases, and that really feeds into how to build that entire customer profile. And looking at, do we target them with a higher offer, a discount, a free shipping versus just trying to re-engage them back with good content. So that's really appreciate that great insight there.
Great. Here again, we'll pause for questions about what data do you need to track. So we'll pause 15 to 30 seconds. Just please enter your questions in using the chat. Here we have one question from Brian. What campaigns do you run for people that you only have an email for?
So in this case, campaigns where we may just have an email for, there's pretty much 3 different types of campaigns we can run, being life cycle, the drips. We can even do real-time campaigns. I'll start off with the real-time campaigns. For a lot of the clients that we're collecting email addresses for and only email, we're really able to target them to bring them back to the site right away. If they've entered their email just for a newsletter subscription, we can see if they left items in their cart, or in any case, we can look at the engagement of pages they visited. If we see a user who put in an email address and really was on your blog focused on specific topics, we can push out content based off of what they're reading in the blog. For customers more in the drip and lifecycle campaigns, we can do more of a full drip over the course of 10 days, get those customers educated, but also put them into different places of our website where we can collect more data. In the past, we've done a lot of campaigns where we focused on bringing the customer emails in and then shooting out feedback forms or just surveys to get a little more information from that customer. With browsing behavior, we're also able to see with just an email address, are they looking at our website from their mobile phone, their tablet, their desktop? Are they looking at it in the morning, evening, or even afternoon? And that really helps us build a customer profile with just having an email address, so we can better target these customers from the get-go as well.
I think, like what Ryan said, your first email to them should be about building a profile for them. So I would suggest sending out a generic campaign with different categories within that email and tracking where that customer is clicking. And based on that click event, then you can create another campaign that says, hey, whoever clicked on this part of this first campaign, then shoot off this campaign. Then you're building a profile for them and you're getting to know them better than just an email address.
Great. We will move on to post-holiday campaign ideas.
So what campaign should you start working on right now for the post-holiday campaigns? We have a couple of them listed out on here, and some of them start is looking at the win back on gifts and subscriptions. Like I mentioned earlier, if your gift certificates are only 80% redeemed, but you have 20% digitally sent out, a lot of those email addresses are tracked in your system, so you can utilize that to bring more customers back. You can also upsell these gift purchases into subscriptions, which Sue will talk a little bit later about. Another campaign idea that you can do is post-holiday excess inventory. A lot of times when you're shopping as a customer, you might not get what you wanted for the holidays. So sending out a campaign to your existing customers to make sure, hey, were you happy with your holiday gifts? If not, guess what? Let's give you a little something and let's get you to shop with us because we want you to be happy. It's that time of the year. And the other thing to look for is wish list data. As mentioned earlier, if a lot of these customers are leaving items in their cart or their wish list, you can utilize a lot of this data for product recommendations and possibly include a special holiday discount. If you find that some of these products left are part of the excess inventory, you can really try to get rid of that excess inventory to help your books and whatnot before the year's end. And then lastly, the idea is year in review for 2014. It's always great to celebrate, with the new year, what you've done, the success, and really share that with your customers. Letting them know that, hey, thank you for being a customer. We really value you. You're part of our success. And moving along with that, keeping them informed, letting them know about the upcoming items in the new year, and really making predictions to keep these customers engaged so they don't feel this holiday hangover. And then we'll move on to Honest Company's plans and what they have for the post-holiday season.
So one of our big campaigns that we're working on for this year that we haven't done yet, but I think it's going to be really successful, is one of our hot sellers for the holidays are gift subscriptions, where you can buy for your friends like a year-long diaper supply. How nice, huh? It's practical and cute. But after these gift subscriptions expire, I want to do a win-back campaign saying, hey, why don't you continue your subscription with this promotion code for uninterrupted service. So I'm really excited to kick that campaign off. Beyond that, we also have our birthday that comes around in February every year. So we always try to do something special. I think for our second birthday, we did like a $2 shipping promotion. So we'll see what happens this year.
Great. And with the campaigns that you guys currently have planned, what is typical lead time for the ones in the post-holiday? Have you guys started planning this out 6 months ago, or how's that schedule look like for you?
The planning of it starts at the beginning of the year when we plan for the rest of the year. So this has been planned, but nothing's been worked on yet. All the teams are pretty busy with our Thanksgiving promotion. So I'll probably kick off this campaign or work on this campaign probably mid-December when things slow down, and then we'll execute as soon as possible.
Great, great. I mean that definitely, tells the audience too that it's never too late. You
It's
can
never too
really do a
late.
post-holiday campaign, the week
Absolutely.
of, but there's a lot of opportunity there. And just because the holidays are over, don't leave. Keep that foot on the pedal. Keep
Yeah.
the gas going. Great. And then when will you be analyzing the post-holiday campaigns, the performance and the metrics?
I'd like to say immediately after, but truthfully, it's going to be during as well. I'm one of those people that when a campaign kicks off, I'm there refreshing the numbers constantly because I'm curious. It's like my little baby, and it's walking around, and I want to see how it's doing. But after the campaign is over, I immediately analyze after that expiration date. Sometimes we have campaigns that require a ship by date for a lot of our subscribers. Like we have a free item promo for our subscribers where you can add this free item to your subscription, but your subscription has to ship out by this date. So for those types of promotions, then I analyze after that ship by date because, things can fall off, people can move up their bundle or move back their bundle, which can make the promotion fall off and which will kind of skew my analysis. So I always wait till that last expiration date.
And then as far as like the real-time results and you're crunching those numbers right away while the campaign's running, who do you work with so the audience can get a good sense of who they need to talk to today to make sure that their teamwork and their resources are really planned for, when these campaigns launch?
Sure. A lot of the analysis I try to do on my own. Some of the heavier analyses that require on-site tracking and things like that, I talk to our database manager. He helps me write up all the SQL queries that I am not educated in because I'm a marketer. We also have a marketing analyst who used to be a part of our finance team. So she's really good with those numbers. We also work with our finance team to look at more of the overall numbers like churn data and how long do subscribers stay on for, the CLVs and things like that. So we involve a lot of different departments.
Great. And following this webinar, we will send additional campaign ideas, post-holiday campaign ideas out along with this presentation.
So great. That wraps up the meat of our webinar, and now we move on to the question session. The first question is by Jason, and that is, what do you offer non-customers to entice them to sign up for your mailing list?
So that's a part of the acquisition team, and I know for us we have our free trial period that's working great right now. So we have a 7-day trial that then auto-enrolls you into a subscription. So their tagline is basically like, get a 7-day trial of diapers. Usually our cute diapers are big sellers, and honestly, just a picture of our diapers will get customers to click on it. But we offer the diaper trial, the essentials trial, and the vitamin trial.
Great. Next question is from Lauren. How does mobile figure into Honest Company's retention strategy?
Yeah, mobile. So because retention is so heavily focused on emails, we looked at our email data both on Google Analytics and through ExactTarget, which is the provider that we use, and we found about 60 to 75% of our opens come from mobile, whereas about 20% of our purchases come from mobile. So there is a big gap. But looking at it anecdotally, it's like people look at emails on their phone and then also have their laptop or computer right next to them, and then they'll go on their laptop and redeem that code. So I think that's where the disconnect is. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure we're getting a drop-off, but I think there is a connection there. People are making their movements more fluid that way. In response to that, we've made virtually all of our emails mobile responsive. We had a big launch early this year where we converted all of our transactional emails, which includes our order confirmation, ship confirmations, our subscription reminders, all of that. We turn that all mobile responsive, which I'm very proud of because I don't think a lot of e-tailers do that. So I like to stay ahead of the curve a little bit. And especially all of our promo emails are all responsive. And we make sure that that promo code stands out and that you can easily copy and paste. So the promo code always has to be text-based instead of being embedded into an image. I've also unsuccessfly tested out this circular CTA button, kind of like a tap button like you see on your iPhone home screen. I've been testing that out and it's lost every time. Again, I don't believe that to be true, so I'm going to be retesting it until it wins.
Great, and maybe Ryan can touch on a little bit on how retention signs can work with a mobile application to do push notifications, and that's something we do with Target using their Cartwheel app.
Yeah, so retention signs has a iOS and mobile SDK. So similar to our tracking on-site with using a technology of JavaScript, our mobile applications also have something similar in the SDK, and we're tracking the user behavior of what they're clicking, what they're looking at, products that are in their cart, purchases, and whatnot. Just like Sue mentioned, as the technology changes with our browsing, with our browsers like Google Chrome and Firefox, very soon, a user can go from their mobile phone to their desktop, laptop, tablet, and really have the same screens opened. So using our different tracking technologies, we're actually able to build a complete life cycle of the customer. We can see pretty much whether they were on their phone and did they go to their desktop and later on jump onto the app and figure out, which point is the most important for them for a purchase or for when they open an email or want to even just browse on your website to look at new content or products.
Great. Next question is from Dory. Can Sue clarify what a circular CTA button is? Does that literally mean just changing the traditional CTA button from rectangle to circle? And why does she think it will win?
Yes, it's literally changing the rectangular button to a circular button. I think it'll win because it just looks aesthetically pleasing when I look at it on my phone. I think people, because of the way mobile devices are, I feel like people are trained to associate like a circular button with something that you tap on. Whereas a button was designed so you can click on it. But I don't think anyone's really optimized for that thumb tapping motion yet on responsive emails. And that's just kind of what I want to figure out. And I just personally think it looks better. And I would love to see all of our mobile emails do that. So the way that I'm testing it is that we have two different versions that render based on device. So we have a piece of code that lives in our email that says, if this person is opening on a desktop, then show this version, which will then show the rectangular versions. And the code also says, if this email is opened on a mobile device, then show this other type of button. So literally you can have the same email opened on two different devices and it'll look different on both devices. I just really want that circular button to win. I don't know, what can I say?
Great, and then we'll finish off with this last question. And if you have any additional questions, please send us an email. You can just email me directly at marco@retentionsigns.com, and that's MARKO, or just feel free to tweet us with that holiday hangover hashtag. So last question, when do you initially start planning for the holiday season?
At The Honest Company, we plan at the beginning of the year. At this point, we're approaching our third year in business. We're still a baby, a young company. But at this point, we already kind of have our holiday promotions planned ahead of time because we just know what worked last year. So when it works, we try not to touch it besides small little tests here and there. We take other promotions as an opportunity to test into what works. But because what we already have for our holiday promotions has worked really well for us in the past, that's what we know we're going to do every year. So at the beginning of the year, around January or February, our marketing team has a kickoff meeting of our annual promotional planning. And so our acquisition team comes in, engagement team, and also our PR communications team to all kind of round up together and say, hey, these are our big efforts this year. This is what we have planned, and make sure none of the things conflict with each other.
Great, and we'll wrap up with that. Thank you all for attending. We will be sending out a recording and slides a little bit later today. And yeah, thanks again. Thank you, Ryan and Sue, for joining us. And we'll hear from you guys very soon.
Thanks.
Bye.